This is Yeji Kim from Hudson High School. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Yeji Around Town will continue through Zoom. My goal is to inform and enrich the Hudson community on the numerous shops and restaurants in Hudson. I will still be featuring many local businesses, so stay tuned and enjoy the show. Welcome to Yeji Around Town. This is Yeji Kim, and today I'm here with Michelle Tuvey from the Red Twig, which is a floral design shop located on Darrow Road in Hudson, Ohio. So could you introduce yourself and explain what your role is at the Red Twig?
Hi, I'm Michelle Tuvey Holland. I own the Red Twig. We're a floral design studio and art gallery. We specialize in weddings, events, and selling local artists.
How did you first get into floral design, and why did you decide to create the Red Twig?
Well, I started in the industry about 20 years ago. I started working for a shop that was actually here in Hudson. It's no longer in business. I was there for about 7 years while I was in college, and then not finishing college, but whatever. So I always tell people that the industry stuck, but not much else in life did. I worked for her for 7 years and then left to deliver flowers from wholesalers to florists for a short period of time, and then ended up starting the studio and running out of my house while doing work for other florists as well. I started the business for a friend of a friend to do their wedding. I'd never made a bridal bouquet at that point. I'd never even made a corsage, but we went for it. And I was up until like 3 a.m. for that wedding. So it was super great, super great. And then, that's really why it was started. Someone asked me to start the business to do their wedding, and so that was in 2006, I believe. So I've run out of my house for that time all the way until I opened the actual physical space here in Hudson in 2013.
And I also know you studied photo illustration, and from what I know about floral design, it's a lot about the details, but it's also about looking at the greater picture as well. And I think photo illustration is a great example of a field that really does exemplify that idea.
Right. I actually started in photojournalism. I was completely convinced I was going to go save the world and travel the world, working for the New York Times, of course. Life didn't play out that way, but yeah, I ended up settling into photo illustration, and I really enjoyed all the attention to detail. Yes, and that definitely plays out in my work, at least I hope so. And the concentration on lighting and the way that lighting plays different roles in both the way you see color and the way you see texture. I think I take a lot of that visual training with me in design.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of parallels. To talk some more about your shop, I saw on your website that there are 2 categories of floral design you do: weddings and events, and commercial. So what are the differences between those 2 categories in regards to maybe the flowers you use or the techniques you employ?
Okay, well, with weddings, obviously we're doing a lot more bouquet work, a lot more centerpiece style work. With events, we still can be doing a large amount of centerpiece design, as well as we rent all of the vessels and props that we use. So weddings, we may have larger arches or chuppahs or, you know, big vase installations. And events, you're looking more at like birthdays or corporate parties. And then as far as like the firm delineation between corporate work and events, I would say that would be our like weekly floral installs for local office buildings and things like that. Yeah, so that would be probably the way I would define it. We also do or are starting to handle daily deliveries a bit more often, but it's going to be the same sort of rules that we've always had, which is we need a day or two notice, because we're never going to be a business that has flowers already made up, ready to go. Everything we do is custom made. We don't just make arrangements and have them hanging out in our cooler.
So when someone requests a special arrangement, as you mentioned, for a wedding or for a birthday, what is the process behind creating it?
Okay, so for a wedding, it's significantly different than for a daily order. For a wedding, people typically reach out through our website. We send them a questionnaire. It kind of helps clients solidify their ideas and understand exactly what they're looking for to begin with, as well as gives us a sense of their design style, their color palette. And then we call them in to have an actual sit-down consultation. So we discuss then all the details, look through images of flowers that they may like, they don't like. We look at centerpiece styles they like. We show people some of our props to see if they're interested in what we have, or if we have to maybe order something new in. We're always looking to expand our prop collection. So yeah, that's how that process works. It's a bit more in depth, and then we'll send a quote out, and then they decide if they like the quote. Yeah. And then as far as a daily delivery goes, a lot of it kind of comes to basically color palette that they're looking for and budget. Mainly that's the two criteria that we kind of tweak our designs on.
Yeah. So I can definitely see that you put a lot of thought into individualizing a design for someone. So to you, what does it mean to be able to use your floral design skills for people and their own special events?
Well, I mean, for me, it's a definite creative outlet, but I also find a lot of joy in just making people happy, or seeing that reaction when they walk into the room where everything is set up, or watching them hold their bouquet for the first time. A lot of it is just purely emotional based. I always tell people I'm not an emotional person in my personal life, but in my business life, I feel like that's where I invest the majority of my emotion, because it's just such a great creative outlet. Plus, designing something specifically for someone, it's both difficult and challenging, but very rewarding. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, that definitely does. Since you are making specialized arrangements for customers, I was wondering, have there been any memorable experiences you would like to share?
Oh, probably
Probably a lot. Yeah.
so many. I think one of the first weddings I ever did, I think it was a lot of pressure because I brought in the bouquets, and no one in the bridal party would let the bride open up the bouquets until the photographer was in the room. So that was a little bit of stress because it would easily be recorded if she didn't like any of it. So there was that. No, I've been very fortunate in that most everything has gone quite smoothly on that end. I mean, inevitably there's hiccups along the way, but we've been very lucky to not have anything major go wrong.
That's great. I also saw that customers are able to actually use the space at the Red Twig for events. Could you elaborate more on the space at the Red Twig in general?
Right, so it's a fairly large space. We have separated recently a little bit of the space to kind of delineate where people are supposed to be and where crew and our work is supposed to take place. We do art openings, and we have hosted fundraisers in here for like the 100 Women Strong. I'm trying to remember what other events we've done in here. Mostly it's art openings. My husband is part owner of Nosh in town, so we'll bring them in for catering, which is super tasty. And I mean, basically it's just kind of like a large, nice space to mingle about and travel through the cabin, so to speak. Because there's lots of nice little vignettes of art or displays to kind of hop about from place to place in.
Yeah. So does the Red Twig actually sell local artist pieces here at the Red Twig as well, or?
Yeah. Yes.
Awesome.
So sadly, since this all hit, I mean, we haven't opened the doors since March because I've been trying to be very cautious to make sure that I'm around and healthy for any weddings. But we are going to open, like I said, on October 1st to the public again.
Yeah. And I think it's very unique that you also provide an atmosphere for the decor to sort of tie in everything together as well.
Yeah, it is a very unique space. We worked really hard on it when we moved in here. But yeah, we love it here. It's very unique. That is for sure.
And finally, to talk about COVID-19, when you do open on October 1st, what safety precautions will be in place?
Well, we will only be open on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We'll only be open 9 to 3, which is fairly close to our standard hours. I mean, obviously, we used to be open Tuesday through Saturday. We'll be doing a lot more cleaning. Part of delineating the space between where we work and where it's shoppable was important to us. It gives us time, if I'm in the middle of something or if crew is in the middle of something, to put a mask back on. If we aren't currently wearing one, if it's me alone, I have time to put a mask on to greet people. Masks will be required. We will no longer be allowing people to use the restroom. Just basically keeping space between us as much as possible. Not that I'm expecting a large flow of traffic, but we will keep the numbers of people to a minimum when they're in the space.
Those are definitely important precautions to have in place.
Right.
So that concludes the interview portion of this episode. So stick around for a few more minutes to see the inside of the Red Twig. Thank you so much, Michelle, for telling me about the Red Twig. I especially liked how you started off as just doing something for one wedding, and now you have an entire business located in Hudson. I think that's really great.
So do I.
So thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Yeji Around Town. I'm Yeji Kim with Michelle Tuve from the Red Twig. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.